All right, so watch this guy launch off a bit of road furniture here. Bunny hops a thing a day. There he is. Absolutely brilliant. That's the intro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Crit Crank. I'm not completely sold on that name yet, so if you've got a better name, please comment below. But I do have, I'm fortunate enough actually, to have a special guest here with me today, Stephen Disco Menzies.
Yeah.
Menz, welcome to the channel. How are you?
Thanks, mate. I'm doing well. Great to be here and looking forward to commentating this race down at Coburg today.
That's it. So, as Menzies just spoiled there, we are down at Coburg Cycling Club, and it was a pretty interesting race. Well, was it interesting? What are your thoughts?
Look, there was a few attacks here and there throughout the race, but generally, nah. I mean, there was a little bit of a headwind on the downhill from memory.
Yeah.
So we had tail on the uphill, so it was pretty quick on the uphill, so it was a little bit difficult to get away. So there was a few attempts, but yeah,
Nothing really stuck, eh?
No.
So on that, we may as well talk a little bit about the course. So it's a public road, so we had to be mindful of cars and traffic. And as you get to like the bottom two corners, so we're on the back straight now, coming on the downhill. As we round the corner, which is to the left, on the second left, there's a roundabout, and if there's a car, we have to stop. You've got to obey the road rules. So fortunately for this race, we didn't have any cars. There was nothing like that, but it did make racing a little bit interesting. You have to be kept on your toes. There was some cars parked on the side, so we needed to be mindful about that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is the downhill bit. On the front straight, pretty much just where the distance meter is. I'll mark it on the map now. When you make that left-hand turn, there is a pretty short, punchy uphill sort of section. So, you know, that was always at the back of our minds, looking for a place to launch a bit of an attack. But, you know, like what Men says, it wasn't too eventful, and not many attacks got away. So if you've got nothing more to add, Men, should we get stuck into some racing?
Yeah, mate. Let's do it.
Perfect. All right, so we came up to Coburg with a bit of a game plan, would you think? It was pretty straightforward. So me, a bit more of a sprinter, I guess. A bit more of a sprinter compared to Men's anyway. But the plan today was to send Men's up the road, try to keep him away for the entire race. Maybe he can form a little bit of a break with a couple of other riders. And if that fails, get him to give me the ultimate decanded quick step lead out coming into the last straight. So we can talk about that in a little bit. But, well, yeah, would you say that's the game plan?
Yeah, that's right. I've ridden Coburg a couple of times, and I've seen breakaways get away, so I know it's possible. But yeah, it just depends on the circumstances in the race. You can see me in the focus there, just about to come round Steve and jump into his wheel. Yeah.
So, you know, with a teammate, it's always super handy to have one. Basically, you know, you can work together and keep each other out of the wind. So a prime example is right here. So Menzies caught battling into the wind. I tell him, mate, jump in. You know, grab a wheel and get out of the wind and rest your legs a little bit, and that's exactly what he does. So look, we are by no means professionals or anything like that, but just having a teammate and showing, you know, a couple of the extra things you can use a teammate for, not just in leading out, is working together throughout the race is always keen. So if you have a teammate or just a couple of mates that you race together with, it's always helpful. So I guess now we'll get stuck into a couple more of the attacks that happened today.
Yep.
All right, so we're 4 laps in of a 21 lap course, and eventually I'm going to figure out a way to get the distance to count down. So stay tuned for that one. And as you can see here, my teammate Menz has just put in a stealth attack and has just rolled off the front. I'm sitting second wheel, obviously not going to do any chasing. And he's just rolled off the front, not out of the saddle, stayed in the saddle, and he's created a bit of a gap.
Yeah, that's right. So there was a bit of attack we've missed, we've skipped through, and it was a bit of a all over the shop, the attack. But anyway, strung out the bunch a little bit, and you know, just as everyone was caught, it's kind of a good time to go. Certainly because everyone's kind of looking at each other, recovering a bit.
Who's looking at each other? Who's going to chase that gap back now? As we round this corner up into the uphill section, you can see the gap that Menzies and another guy have put in is like maybe a 5 to 10 second gap, and it's not until old mate here on the front now decides, well, that's looking a little bit threatening. He decides to take the burden and try to shut that break down. So, I'm happy just to sit on his wheel and not do any work and just wait for him to chase that down. So, as we just come around here, this is D grade, I believe. I think they put B and D grade on the same course together. But on this little uphill section, you can see that guy didn't want to bar it and wants to chase that group back, which seemed pretty simple to do. Do you remember this sort of moment in the race? Do you remember if you were committed to that break or if you just wanted to see how things were turning out, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, we never got that far in front of the peloton. I was feeling reasonably comfortable at that stage. It was probably too early in the race to go out with only 2 riders, so I would have been more comfortable if there was maybe 4 or 5. Yep. But I thought I'd give it a test. You never know. There might be another couple of riders that bridge across, and then all of a sudden you're away.
Yep.
But the rider I was with kind of looked at me and shook his head. He was done.
He didn't want to bar it either. But as you can see, even that sort of little sort of break has managed to stretch the group out. And as you can see in that rear camera, there's been a bit of a split in the bunch that, we didn't really see up until watching back on the footage now. So you don't actually realise the sort of attacks that you put in can actually stretch the bunch up or stretch the bunch out rather and create gaps and create panic within the peloton. So this guy's been sitting on the front now for basically a half lap, chasing down these 2 riders in front here, Men's being on the front there. And Menzies had a quick look behind and realised, well, the gap, no one's chasing this. So I'm just going to soft pedal off the front again, and off he goes. Another gap's created, hey?
Yeah, that's right. It's the same thing. Sometimes peloton catch the breakaway, and they're sort of done. Everyone's worked hard to catch the breakaway again, and you can just kind of go, oh well, fuck it, I'm going again.
Yeah, and the good thing was because you weren't fully committed on that first time round, it allowed you had
the legs.
You had the legs to put in another surge, but.
As it turns out, it didn't work out.
It didn't work out, and it was brought back pretty quickly. But as you can see in that rear cam, this guy's got the right idea. He launches another attack. As soon as the group's been caught, bang, off another rider goes as another counter attack. So once again, it's left up to a couple of riders to do the work. And for this one, it looks like we leave it up to the same guy on the front, as well as that KOS rider that's sitting on the front too.
Number 1, yeah. It was a good time to go. Just taking the end of the uphill section and then carrying the momentum into the downhill.
Certainly.
But it looks like he didn't really have enough power to really stretch it out.
The gap, it didn't look like it was going to stay away. He didn't look super committed to it. So let's see if that one sticks around. All right, so we're 9 laps into the race, and I found myself in a little bit of a break here. Now, the gap, obviously the GoPro effect, looks about 10 seconds, but we can't really comment to say how far that is. But now it's up to a bit of coordination between the 2 guys that I'm riding with. How committed are we to this break, and do we see there being any potential? But, if you want to keep things smooth, we all look around and we see the peloton don't like the distance that's been created there, so they all do some work and try to chase that group back. And Menz, what are you thinking right now?
With my teammate up the road, I'm definitely not doing any work to try and chase them down. So I've sat in second or third wheel there and let the others chase. And I've seen someone respond here, and I thought, oh, that's probably a good opportunity, and I'm going to have a go.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. And you can see that you've created a little bit of a gap there as well. So why not give it a crack? And
old mate who was going to join me has given up, so I'm on my own. Yeah,
he has. And now we're going to get a bit of a lesson on what not to do. So, I decide to basically chase down my teammates. So to give a little bit of perspective here, the idea of this was to try to join Menz in the break, but manage somehow to drag the group back to him, and that's absolutely what you shouldn't be doing. So the idea, I think, in hindsight was there, and that was to kind of launch an attack at the right time, but the group was already surging. They were hitting the front at a top speed. And
yeah, I reckon they had a bit of a momentum on you, and you tried to go, but they'd already just about caught your wheel and it was over.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, mate, and I hope that doesn't happen again. So as we come round this top uphill corner, The group's all back together, and
I'm sure you just wanted to make sure that I was there for your lead out.
something like that. Yeah, good on you. All right, so I got my wish and managed to chase Menzies down, and as you can see there on the screen, this is 3 laps left. So I guess we
Plan B.
Yeah, we fall back to Plan B, which is conserve your legs, conserve your energy, and just wait for that final lap where we can organise a bit of a good lead out, and hopefully take out the win today. But
we'll see how that pans out.
We'll definitely see how that pans out. Like this moment in the race, it's a lot of cat and mousing. Hey, it's very rare that a break's going to get away with 3 laps remaining. I've never really seen that happen. It's going to be quite hard because nothing's really stuck today, has it?
Yeah, everyone's on the tip of their toes. They're very responsive and reactive, so no one wants to get dropped in the last 3 laps, so it's very unlikely.
And no one wants to let anything get away either. So it's a lot of catty mousing, and the group's pretty strung out at the moment. So we'll see how it pans out as we get a little bit closer to the finish, eh? All right, so we roll into 2 laps to go, and I'm sticking to Menzies' wheel as much as I possibly can, but I get a little bit nervous here because as the pace kind of slows down to 35 k's an hour, I'm thinking, where's an exit? How am I going to find my way out of this if I get swarmed? And fortunately, a guy launches a little bit of an attack here, and I'm surfing wheels now. So I'm looking at number 10. Is 10 going to chase it down? No, this guy here in the Neo Pro kit is going to do that, number 114. So I jump onto his wheel. Just makes me out of trouble. You don't want to be in the middle of the group with no exit. So I stick in here and try to get as aero as I can. And I guess I'm just trying to think about not committing as much as any energy. Do you know what I mean? As we try to, into the last couple of laps. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm sort of disappointed to not have you on my wheel, but I've just kind of letting the group go a bit and just making sure that I'm not quite panicking at this stage, but also not wanting to conserve too much energy as I come around here. And the good thing is that it has strung the bunch out a little bit, so it's not too difficult for me to get to the front and get back on in front of Steve's wheel.
Yeah, so I see Men's come around the front, so I stick on his wheel. I have to fight a little bit for it. The guy in the BH obviously wants a bit of action, and shut that right down. So a little bit of a nudge here and there allows you to bump them off their wheel and sit pretty. But yeah, right now I'm on the front, but you're not really, barely pedaling, you know what I mean? Like, you're not really wasting too much energy. So I know I'm going to be able to jump back onto Men's wheel around this hairpin, around this corner rather, as we lead into the final lap, I guess.
Yeah, and we're sitting, I'm sitting second wheel here, and I'm thinking I don't really want to be second wheel at this moment, because this bloke could, swing away at any point, and then all of a sudden I'm on the front, which is less than ideal. But
there's a lap remaining.
But it also, you don't want to be too far back either. So we've still got plenty of time to move around the bunch. So I'm okay with where we are at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see how we go coming into this last lap. All right, it's the last lap, the bell lap, and everybody is fidgety. They're nervous. There's a little bit of bumping shoulders, all the fun things bike racing is about. As we round this top corner here, coming into the downwind, or the downhill rather, part of the course where things start to get fast, I've found myself off Men's wheel, but I can see him just 2 riders, 3 riders up. So things are still good. I've got an exit point in case anything goes wrong, and someone launches an attack. At this moment, you can hear me shout, snap. Asking Menzies to jump onto the wheel in front of me, and that's effectively created a bit of a lead out for us. Now, what I am praying for right now is that in the perfect world, the guys that are in front are going to keep the pace high at 50 k's an hour and lead me to the finish. Now, I think we all know that that's probably not going to happen. So unfortunately, it leads it up to Men's to do all the work, as he wants to really keep that pace high.
Yeah,
right?
I could feel the riders coming around on the outside, so I didn't want to get caught behind the wheels of the guys slowing down on the left. So I gradually drifted out to the centre of the road, and I was able to jump onto these attacks here and take flak to the line. So I'm out of the saddle here, power's strong. Notice there's 2 guys in front of me, and at this point I'm in 2 minds. do I keep going or do I sit in, recover, and get ready to go again?
Yeah, and that's right. So I would love it if you could lead me out to the line, but I hear this guy on the left coming in like an absolute freight train. He sounds like a TIE fighter, so I know it's on. So I shift down a gear and just go all out to the line, and unfortunately get second by what the Coburg by Bees Whizzer said by the Coburg connoisseur. So all right, well that's pretty much it. Menz, thank you so much for coming in and do a bit of commentary with me today.
Thanks for having me. It was a good race. Sorry I couldn't get you quite to the line there, but second's a pretty good effort. First race at Coburg. Well done, mate.
Thanks, mate. I really appreciate that. And yeah, hopefully we'll get you on a few more episodes and get a few more insights from you. Thanks again, mate, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, mate.
Don't forget to like and smash that subscribe button. We have a couple more races to edit and put up, so stay tuned for those ones. Cheers.